Adaora and Chuka met in their final year at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. They were both struggling students with big dreams. Chuka wanted to travel abroad and become a nurse. Adaora wanted to design houses and bring her family out of poverty. They spent many evenings sitting under the mango tree near the school hostel, talking about life and the future. One day, "I'll wear a winter jacket and walk on snowy streets," Chuka used to say with a smile. "And I'll draw houses for rich people and live in a big one of my own," Adaora would reply. They had no money, but they had hope. After graduation, they got married quietly at the court. There was no white gown or party. Just Adaora in her borrowed dress, and Chuka in his old suit from NYSC. They held hands, looked into each other's eyes, and said "I do." They moved to a small self-contained room in Onitsha. The ceiling leaked when it rained, and their mattress was on the floor. But Adaora didn't complain. They boiled yam on a small gas cooker, shared sachets of water, and made plans for the future. "We'll leave this place one day," Chuka would say. "Just wait and see." One evening, Adaora got a call. Her mother had collapsed in the market. It was a stroke. By the time Adaora got to the hospital, her mother was gone. It felt like the sky had fallen. She cried for days. Her mother had been her only support since her father died years ago. But after the burial, the elders called her aside. Her mother had left behind a few things: a small market stall in Akanja, a little savings account, and a small piece of land in Akka from her late father. It wasn't much, but to Adaora, it was gold. She returned to Onitsha with her mother's debt still heavy on her chest. That evening, she sat down across from Chuka at their plastic table. "I've made a decision," she said. "What is it?" Chuka asked, looking up from his phone. "I want to sell the stall, the land, and use the money to process your visa. You can go to the UK. Start our dream." Chuka's eyes opened wide. "But Ada, that's your only inheritance. That land is your future." "You are my future," Adaora said gently. "We'll build everything back when you make it." Chuka was quiet for a while. Then he reached for her hand. "God bless you, Ada. I promise, I won't forget this." Within 2 months, Chuka got a student visa to the UK. Adaora used her last savings to buy his ticket and pay for his first term of school. At the airport, she hugged him tight. "Don't forget why you're going," she whispered. "We are doing this together." "I won't forget," he said. "Give me 2 years. I'll bring you over. That's a promise." Adaora stood at the airport window for a long time after the plane took off, watching the sky. She didn't know that this goodbye would change everything. After Chuka left, Adaora became a shadow of herself. She moved to Lagos and took any job she could find: cleaner, nanny, office assistant. She would wake by 4 a.m. and sleep by midnight. Some days, she didn't eat well. She used candlelight to save money on NEPA bills. She stopped buying clothes and cut her own hair. But every month, she sent money to Chuka. He needed money for rent, transport, books, and food. Adaora never said no. Even when her stomach ached from hunger, she sent what she had. "My husband must not suffer," she always told herself. "When he succeeds, we'll succeed together." Chuka would call once in a while. His voice was always tired. "School is hard," he would say. "Life here is tough. But soon, I'll bring you." And Adaora would smile through her pain. "I'm proud of you," she'd say. "Just keep going." 1 year passed. Then another. Adaora kept working and praying. She fasted every Friday. She went to vigils. She joined women's prayer groups. All she wanted was to be with her husband and have a child. On one of the occasions when Chuka returned to Nigeria to visit her, she became pregnant. The baby didn't last. She lost it at 11 weeks. She was heartbroken. Months later, it happened again when he returned to see his sick mother. Another pregnancy. Another loss. She didn't tell Chuka everything. She just texted him, "I lost the baby." He replied, "Don't worry. It's not your fault." That night, Adaora sat in her dark room, staring at the ceiling. Her dreams felt far away. But she still believed. "God is watching," she whispered. What she didn't know was that while she was bleeding and praying in Lagos, Chuka was getting married again in Nigeria instead of visiting his sick mother. 2 years after Chuka left, Adaora finally got her visa. She packed her few clothes, hugged her aging uncle, and flew to the UK with shaking hands and a beating heart. As the plane landed, she whispered, "This is the beginning of our real life." Chuka was waiting at the airport in a heavy jacket. He looked older. Tired. But he smiled when he saw her. "My Ada," he said, hugging her quickly. They went home to a small council flat in East London. One room, a small parlor, and a kitchen that smelled of onions and oil. But to Adaora, it was paradise. She cleaned the flat from top to bottom that first day. Cooked a goosey soup. Lit a candle and prayed over every corner. "Finally," she said. "Finally we're together." Chuka had finished school and now worked as a full-time healthcare assistant in a private home. The pay was better than before. He left home early and returned late. Adaora found a job too, working as a carer in the mornings and cleaning offices in the evenings. They saw each other only in passing. She'd greet him while putting on her coat. "You've eaten?" she'd ask. "I'll eat later," he'd say, already picking up his car keys. Still, Adaora didn't complain. She believed hard work now meant joy later. On weekends, she cooked and deep-cleaned their flat. She sent small money home to her uncle. She joined a fertility prayer group at church. She still had no child, but she had hope. One day, Adaora noticed something strange. She checked their joint account online and saw charges from Western Union. Money, hundreds of pounds, sent to Nigeria. She waited until dinner time. "Chuka," she said softly, placing his food in front of him, "I saw the account. You've been sending a lot of money home." He paused. "It's for my mother," he said. "She's sick." "Oh. I didn't know," Adaora replied, worried. "Should we call and check on her together?" "No need. I already did," he said quickly, eyes on his plate. That was the end of that talk. But it kept happening. The account kept shrinking. She stopped buying anything for herself. She even stopped sending money to her uncle. Chuka said nothing more. Just kept working, eating, and going. Chuka started traveling to Nigeria more often. First it was once a year, then twice. Then 3 times. He would be gone for 2, sometimes 3 weeks. When Adaora asked why, he'd say, "Family matters." "Which family matters?" she once asked. "You want to start controlling me now?" Chuka snapped. "You think I'm enjoying traveling up and down? It's stress, Ada. Big stress." She said nothing more. But the gap between them widened like the river Niger. He stopped sleeping in their bed sometimes. He said he was tired. He stayed out late. His phone was always on silent. One night, he didn't come home at all. "I slept at Emeka's place," he said the next morning. "It was too late to drive." Adaora just nodded. That night, she cried silently under her pillow. One Saturday, Adaora was doing laundry when a call came through on Chuka's phone. The screen flashed, "Site engineer, Asaba." She picked it. A man's voice came on. "Oga Chuka, the roof for the second house done finish. We go paint him next week. Madam say she want pink room for the baby." Adaora's heart froze. "Sorry, who is this?" she asked, her voice shaking. The man paused. Not her? Sorry, oh. I thought," he hung up. She stood still, her wet hands dripping on the floor. "Madam? Baby? Second house?" After that strange phone call, Adaora could not sleep well. She stared at the ceiling every night, her heart heavy. Who is the madam with the baby? What second house? Why did the men say Chuka's name? Chuka acted normal. He went to work, came home tired, and said little. But Adaora's spirit was not at rest. One day after he left for work, she picked his phone and searched through messages. Nothing. He had deleted everything. She checked the drawers. She looked behind cupboards. She even lifted the mattress. No sign. "God, help me," she whispered. The next day, she called her old friend back in Nigeria. "Chika, please? I need help," Adaora said. "What is it, my sister?" "I need you to find out if anything is going on with Chuka's family. Someone called and talked about a second house and a baby." Chika was silent for a second. Then she said, "Let me ask around. I'll get back to you." 2 weeks later, Chika called back. "Adaora, please sit down." "I'm sitting." "Your husband built a big house in Asaba for his family. People say it's for his mother and one lady that everyone calls his stepsister. Stepsister? Adaora repeated. Yes. But people say she's the one with the baby. Adaora felt like someone poured cold water on her. Her hands shook. She dropped the phone. When Chuka returned that night, she was waiting. You built a house in Asaba? She asked. He looked up slowly. Yes. For my mother. Is that a crime? And who is the woman there? She's my stepsister. Don't lie to me, Chuka, she shouted. I used our money. I suffered to save every pound while you sent everything to Nigeria to build a life I wasn't part of. Chuka stood up. Don't raise your voice. I did what I had to do. What you had to do? With our money? Behind my back. He grabbed his jacket. If you like, shout from now till tomorrow. I don't owe you anything. He left the house that night. Adaora cried until her chest ached. But she stayed. Because after everything, she still hoped for a child, and for peace. 5 years passed. Adaora turned 41. No child. Still working. Still praying. One day, Chuka came home with news. My younger sister just got a student visa. She'll be coming to stay with us for some time. Adaora nodded. Of course. We have the spare room. When the girl arrived, Adaora opened the door with a big smile. Welcome, dear. You must be tired. The girl was beautiful. Fair. With bright eyes and quiet confidence. Thank you, Ma, she said. What's your name? Ifananya, she replied. Adaora's smile froze, but only for a second. Ifananya? The same name? But maybe it's just a coincidence. She didn't ask questions. That night, she made jollof rice and chicken. Everyone ate quietly. Ifananya, feel free, Chuka said. This is your home now. Thank you, brother, she said. But the way she said brother made Adaora's chest tighten. The girl called him brother, but they shared secret glances. She knocked on his door often. Once, Adaora came out of the bathroom and saw Chuka and Ifananya sitting too close on the couch. Things didn't feel right. Ifananya barely greeted Adaora. She never washed plates. Never helped in the house. She only dressed nicely, went out often, and called Chuka's phone at night even when he was in the same house. One morning, Adaora was cleaning the guest room. Ifananya had gone to the salon. She bent down to pick a hairpin under the bed when she saw a brown envelope. She opened it out of habit. What she saw made her hands tremble. It was a marriage certificate. Chuka Okoye and Ifananya Nwachukwu. Dated, 6 years ago. Adaora sat on the floor. Her vision blurred. Her heart beat fast. She looked again. No, it wasn't a mistake. It was her husband. Her Chuka. He had married Ifananya back in Nigeria, while she, Adaora, was still sending him money and praying for a child. She stood up slowly. Walked into the sitting room. Chuka was watching TV. Chuka, she said, her voice like a whisper. Yes. She threw the certificate on the table. He froze. What's this? He didn't answer. Answer me. He rubbed his forehead. Ada, I didn't want you to find out like this. So it's true? Her voice was shaking. He stood up. What do you want me to say? You couldn't give me children. My mother said I had to do something. I didn't want to, but you did. You used me. You lied to me. You brought her into my house as your sister. I gave you a home, didn't I? He snapped. You should be thanking me I didn't send you back to Nigeria. Adaora gasped. Thanking you? After I sold my land for you? After I worked myself to the bone while you built houses for another woman? I did what a man must do, he shouted. Adaora stood quietly. Her heart had broken in many places. But now, it turned to stone. Adaora sat on her bed for hours, staring at the marriage certificate. Her hands were cold. Her chest was tight. This man took everything from me. That night, she didn't cry. She picked up her phone and called her uncle Inaka. Uncle, it's Adaora. My daughter, how are you? I need your help, she said. Her voice was low, but strong. She told him everything, how she used her inheritance and borrowed money to send Chuka abroad, how he lied, and how he now had a second wife living under her roof. I want to fight for what belongs to me, That land I sold. The money I sent. All of it. Ada, don't worry, her uncle said. We'll take it up with the family elders. That weekend, Adaora waited until Ifananya left the house to meet a friend. She locked the door behind her. Then she faced Chuka. You have a choice, she said calmly. Move out with your second wife, or I will report both of you to immigration. Chuka scoffed. You think anyone will believe you? She stepped closer. Try me. His eyes narrowed. But he didn't say a word. I want her out of my house, she said. And I want you gone too. You're bluffing. Adaora pulled out her phone. I've already spoken to someone. A lawyer. Immigration services will be very interested to know about your hidden wife and child. He paused. For once, he looked worried. After that fight, Adaora didn't talk much. She went to work. Came home. Ate her food in silence. But she was working on something bigger. Her boss, Mrs. Callahan, noticed. Adaora, are you okay? She asked one day. I will be, Adaora said. After work, she sat with Mrs. Callahan in the kitchen and told her the whole story. Mrs. Callahan's eyes widened. Oh my goodness. You poor dear. That's not just cruel, it's illegal. She connected Adaora to a women's legal charity in London. They looked into her case, and what they found shocked her. Your name is on the house mortgage, the lawyer said. You've built strong credit. That house is as much yours as it is his. Adaora nodded, biting her lip. There's more, the woman continued. Chuka lied on his immigration paperwork. He never declared a second wife or a child back home. What does that mean? Adaora asked. It means, the lawyer smiled, we can fight. With help from Mrs. Callahan and the charity group, Adaora made her moves quietly. She filed for divorce. She froze the mortgage equity. She reported Chuka's immigration lies to the Home Office. 1 week later, a letter arrived. Ifanyanya's student visa had been flagged for review. 2 weeks later, Chuka was invited to an immigration hearing for suspected bigamy and fraud. He stormed into the house that night, shouting. You did this. You evil woman. You want to destroy me? Adaora looked him in the eye. Calm. Quiet. Strong. I gave you everything, she said. And you threw it away. Now, I'm taking back what's mine. Ifananya packed her things that same week and moved in with a friend. Chuka left the house too. Adaora remained. In her home. With her name on every paper. She didn't smile often. But she felt peace. She kept working. Kept saving. She was no longer the woman who sold her land for a man's dream. She was the woman who rose from betrayal and rebuilt her own. The house felt heavy with memories. Adaora had won, yes. But every room reminded her of pain. The nights she waited. The tears she cried. The woman who called her husband brother. So one morning, she packed her bags. Just 2 suitcases. She rented a small flat. Quiet. Simple. Warm. Her friends at work helped her settle in. Mrs. Callahan even brought new curtains and a rice cooker. It was the first time in years that Adaora lived alone. 3 months passed. One Saturday, Adaora checked her postbox. A brown envelope sat inside. It was from the local fostering agency. Her hands shook as she opened it. Dear Mrs. Adaora Okoye. We are pleased to inform you that your application to become a foster parent has been accepted. You are now approved to care for a child in need. Adaora sat on the stairs outside her door. She read the letter 3 times. Tears ran down her cheeks. But this time, they weren't sad tears. I may not have carried a child in my womb, she whispered, but I will carry one in my heart. She looked up at the sky. Mama? I'm going to be a mother. 1 month later, Adaora got a call. There's a young girl, the woman from the agency said. Her name is Zara. She's 9. She lost her parents last year. She needs a safe, loving home. Adaora's voice was calm. Bring her. Zara arrived with small eyes and quiet feet. She clutched a teddy bear and wouldn't speak. But Adaora knelt to her level. Hi, Zara. I'm Adaora. You don't need to be afraid. This is your home now. Zara didn't smile yet. But she didn't cry either. And that was enough. That night, Adaora made jollof rice and plantain. They ate together. She read Zara a story. Then tucked her into bed. Before switching off the light, she whispered, "I've waited a long time for you." Zara held her teddy bear tight. "Good night, Mummy," she said.